buenas, un nuevo vídeo, estamos aquí de vuelta en Stanley Parable, el 1 o el 2, no lo sé, pero bueno, estamos aquí en Stanley Parable 2 parece, así que nada, vamos a ver qué tal. O sea,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
cubo.
room. Stanley picked up the bucket.
Toma ya, sí señor.
Stanley
¿Puedo jugar
clutched the
normal y
bucket
corriente?
tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Vale.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket
Pero
turned
eso
out
se
to
va a
be
quedar ahora
correct?
sí
Well,
siempre,
no,
en plan, ahora voy a
never
tener
mind.
la,
The bucket was wrong.
el cubo y la
Stanley
peina
took
esa.
the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift,
Vale.
yes. Go there.
Hay un
Go
final
to
que
the
es
cargo lift.
literalmente coger eso. Mira, hay un coleccionador allí. Coger eso y echarse para atrás y luego matarte. Pero yo lo que voy a hacer es caer en
Good,
esta
said the
plataforma.
bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the
Coleccionador,
top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Y a ver qué hay aquí. No sé lo que hay. Simplemente sabía lo de que había que tirarse aquí. A ver.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point.
Vamos.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which,
¿Cómo lo suelto?
if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of
Tío, me la
what
pela lo
is
que sea
and isn't a
un
bucket.
cubo, tío, un balde.
Please, step in here for a moment.
Si no hubiesen pillado el cubo, hubiese sido diferente y hubiese podido entrar.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test
Esa
scenarios,
mierda.
and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a
Vale.
bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of
Toma.
a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Por la cara.
Item 2.
No.
Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Vale.
Item 3.
No,
Is
pero
this
va
a
a ser que
bucket?
sí.
Incorrect.
Vaya por Dios.
This is a bucket.
Vaya por Dios.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Sí.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Vale. ¿Y ahora qué?
Is this a bucket?
Sí.
Correct.
Toma.
This is a bucket.
Es un cubo porque yo lo digo así. No.
Item 6.
No.
Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both.
Está todo
Gotcha.
bien capciosa por la cara. Las dos son correctas.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Oye, ya vale, ¿no? En plan...
Okay, you and I both know there isn't
Vaya, vale.
anything here. And I don't
¿cómo no existe?
appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And
No.
therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Sí.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Por la cara, tío.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a
¿Por qué es tan
bucket?
random ese
Oh
juego?
my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here.
No,
You're
sí,
not a
no
bucket
soy un
either.
balde.
Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll
Vale.
put back all of the buckets, okay?
Vale.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Vale, reiniciamos. Vale, puedo hacer ahora lo que iba a hacer.
The
No voy a
meeting
coger
room.
como por-
Yes,
por
that's
si
where
acaso.
everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the
No
meeting
quiero el
room,
cubo.
and from then on, he would never be
La que se ha
alone
liado por
ever
un maldito
again.
cubo, tío. O sea, es que ese juego literalmente cada decisión es...
When Stanley came to a set of two
Es que es
open
súper
doors, this
raro,
was
en
not
plan,
the correct way to the meeting room,
el
and
superlímino
Stanley
por
knew it
bruto lo lleva
perfectly
porque era una
well.
perspectiva
Perhaps
y
he wanted to
sabe-
stop by the employee lounge
Después,
first,
es que yo qué
just
sé,
to
en plan, es una
admire it.
fumada. Pero
And
y
here
ese,
it
pues,
was,
Era
the
el
lounge.
mismo, que era como un sueño. El
But
superlímino
eager
era
to
que
get
era un
back to
sueño al
business,
final.
Stanley took the first
¿Por qué
open
juego
door on
juegos
his
tan
left.
rayantes, tío? En plan, no entiendo nada. Vale, a ver.
Stanley was so bad at
Voy a hacer lo
following
mismo.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
A lo mejor puedo... ¿Puedo pillar el coleccionable?
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
Vamos,
Remember,
Lord.
no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore
Es que
you
quiero
to
hacer algo
savor
y me
each
entretengo
and
con 20
every
cosas
moment
antes,
you
tío.
come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Dale, ya, se acabó. Venga, vamos. ¿Puedo bajar por aquí? No. ¿Y a dónde voy?
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. What? So far off the beaten. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
¿Y ahora qué? Ese es otro final, no entiendo.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Pero
What
¿cuántos
could it
finales tiene
mean?
ese juego?
Stanley decided to
Y no hay
go to
uno
the meeting
definitivo, no
room.
entiendo que el
Perhaps he had simply
definitivo-
missed a memo.
Tenis, no entiendo. O sea, en plan, entiendo que puede jugar todo.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Vale.
just to admire it.
No
It
sé
was
realmente
okay.
qué capítulo hacer como el capítulo final porque el
But
juego creo
eager
que
to
puede
get
ser
back to
infinito. O
business,
sea, me voy
Stanley
a
took
tomar
the
eso
first
como
open
el
door on
capítulo
his
final,
left.
supongo. Porque ya, en plan, los juegos
Stanley was so
día.
bad at following directions, it's incredible he
Pero
wasn't
quiero ver
5
eso.
years
Y
ago.
quiero hacer lo de la oficina. Bueno, a lo mejor hago otro vídeo más.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off
Volviéndome a
on the
meter, en
wrong
plan,
foot
cerrando el juego,
here.
volviéndome a meter.
I'm
¿no?
not your
Por la hora,
enemy,
o yo qué
really,
sé.
I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
4 o
else can be
5 años,
difficult,
bueno,
but the
5 años me
fact
acordaré de
is that
ese
the
juego.
story has been about nothing
Para
but
volver a
you
entrar, en plan,
all this
cuando-
time.
Y que me den el logro.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone
O sea, hay
you've
gente que ya lo
forgotten.
tiene, ¿no?
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
A lo
for
mejor,
others? Are you that
adelantando la
convinced that
consola
I
ya
want
puedo.
something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to
Ahora me
convince
tienes
you of this,
aquí,
but
¿no?
I
Bien,
really
bien.
do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove
Vale.
it. Let me prove that I'm
Toma.
on your side. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know,
Toma
there
ya,
really must
chaval.
be a snappier name for these things. What about
Vale, puerta
mini
roja
stands? Stanley
puerta azul.
figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes,
No,
I
voy a
think I
pillar
like
roja,
that.
no, en plan, no.
Another
Pero yo-
Stanlerine
No, no,
under
no.
your belt. Now listen
El rojo.
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Vale.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and
empezar otra vez
running and
con
running, just
dar
the way you're
vueltas,
doing
sí.
right now.
Debería de
Don't you
haber
see
pillado por
that
la
it's
azul.
killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
Voy a reiniciar otra vez y pillar el azul,
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Vámonos. ¿Y ahora dónde? ¿Otra vez se reinicia? ¿Qué es eso?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here.
¿Qué es eso?
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
Que me piro. ¿Y ahora dónde voy, chaval?
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God. You
Ahora
live.
camino más
No.
lento, ¿no?
No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing
Me torció
this?
como una pierna, ¿no? Parece. A ver.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you
No.
do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike
¿Pero
my
qué es ese
game?
juego, tío?
That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Sí, la verdad es que sí, la interpretas bien.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
Tío,
I
quiero
just
tirar
wanted
por la
us to
puerta
get
azul,
along.
tío.
But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Quiero tomar por la puerta azul, tío. No sé qué hay en la puerta azul, no tengo ni idea. A ver. Dime que me muero ya, tío.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Vale, vamos a tirar por la puerta azul. Vamos a ir por
All
la
of his
puerta azul.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps
Quiero
he
ir
had
a la
simply missed
puerta
a memo.
azul y quiero hacer lo de... ¿Cómo se llama, tío? Lo de... ¿Qué es eso? Eso es avante así.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to
Creo
the
que ya
meeting
sí, en
room,
plan,
and
es
Stanley
como
knew it perfectly
ir rellenando
well.
finales, ¿no?
Perhaps he
Porque
wanted to stop by the employee lounge
en verdad
first,
no sé
just to
cuántos
admire
finales he
it.
hecho,
It was okay.
Sé que me queda el del azul y sé
But
que me queda en
eager to get
plan
back
uno
to
que es
business,
como ir a la sala
Stanley
del
took the
jefe
first open
y
door on his
salirte antes
left.
de que se cierre la puerta, en plan por la primera que entras, no la secreta, sino como
Stanley
la
was so
que
bad
entras
at following directions,
¿Sabes?
it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Vale, vamos a tirar por azul. Y
Look, Stanley,
quiero
I
hacer
think
lo del
perhaps we've
jefe.
gotten off on the wrong foot
Y
here.
quiero darle también a empezar de cero. La secuela está en pausa.
I'm
¿verdad?
not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
gustaría
else
volver a
can be
entrar al juego
difficult,
y verlo
but the
en plan-
fact is that the story has been about nothing but you
Lo
all
de
this
la hora,
time.
¿sabes? Que me
There's
dijo al
someone you've
principio.
been neglecting,
No sé ni cuántos
Stanley.
vídeos llevo, en plan, si
So
grabo
what?
todos de uno.
Really?
La
I was in
verdad,
the middle
pero
of
bueno.
something. Do you have zero
ver.
consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this,
Bueno,
but
en
I
verdad, mira,
really do
señores,
want to help
vamos a
you,
hacer una
to
cosa.
show you something
Vamos a tirar por la
beautiful.
puerta azul.
Look, let me prove it. Let me
Vamos a
prove
tirar por el
that I'm
azul
on your
y vamos a
side. Give me
reiniciarlo.
a
Y ya se
chance.
acaba aquí. Y
Now listen carefully,
paso,
this is
en plan-
important. Stanley
Paso.
walked through the red door.
No, la azul.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
Azul.
Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly.
Azul.
Stanley walked... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me
Vale.
stop you.
A ver qué por azul.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours.
entiendo nada,
What
bueno.
would have made this game better? What did you want to see?
Vehículos, árboles de habilidades.
Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Vale.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut.
¿Pero qué me está contando
I really
ahora?
couldn't
Es que
say where the
brutal, es
idea
que no
came
paro
from,
de
except
hablar,
that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't
Feedback
even
area,
try.
64.128.
Here, based on the data from your
Igual
previous
128,
playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
128.024, sí. 120, sí. The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard
¿Qué?
helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Otro de reiniciar?
In
tío?
this game,
¿Qué es eso?
the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the
Voy a
game
dejar que siga
only
muy
becomes
breve.
clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours
Voy
of
a dejar
play
que siga
to
muy
make
breve.
sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Vale. Muy bien. Pero ¿por qué me hace tanta gracia, tío? Porque hay un bebé, tío. Porque hay un bebé, tío. Dejo que se muera.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
¿Y ahora qué?
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see.
Otra persona.
What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
A ver, ¿me va a reiniciar o no? Yo solo quiero dar el menú de reiniciar ahora y ya sé. ¿Qué es eso?
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Ostras, vamos a un montón.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a
¿Cuál es ese
creepy
juego?
man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your
Me suena
creep
un
tower.
montón, tío.
Perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
¿Eso es un juego de verdad?
Yes, that must be it.
Oh,
What a
Firewatch,
fascinating
the
venture into the
Firewatch.
experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Pero ese juego me suena un montón. Me suena mucho. Pero ese juego existe, ¿verdad? ¿No? En plan... Sí.
Oh,
No sé
no.
cuál es. Ah,
No,
no me
no,
sale el
no,
nombre,
it
tío.
can't be.
Pero sé cuál es. Pero qué movida es esa.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing.
Pero
That
que esa-
big, open, just wandering
Ya,
around. No
Firewatch.
right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just
¿Dónde
go
voy?
in any... Oh, thank heavens we
Firewatch
avoided it.
se llama el videojuego.
We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Se llama Firewatch,
Okay,
creo.
I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
¿Me va a llevar otro
Preferably
juego?
something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Tiene por ahí un hueco.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
A ver. Sí, hombre, el Rocket League.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in
Sí,
mind.
hombre.
Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any
Habla.
possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley,
habla.
if you manage to get lost in this game, I will
¿qué
be
es esa movida?
phenomenally impressed.
¿Qué es esa movida?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here?
¿Pero qué
Let's
es eso?
see.
No entiendo nada.
There are lots of
En plan,
cars here in the
no
back,
entiendo
but
nada.
obviously there's
¿Qué
no
es eso? ¿Dónde estoy?
racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley,
No
I
entiendo
think
nada.
it's
¿Qué es eso?
sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have
¿Me
fun.
van a tirar la pelota? Dale, dale. Mira, mira qué guapo. ¿Gol?
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Hold on. What are you doing?
Eso no es el Rocket League.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
¿Y ahora qué? ¿Dónde leche soy ahora? ¿Dónde leche soy? ¿Y por qué no se ve nada? Me va a quedar el vídeo larguísimo, tú. ¿Esto es otro juego o no? Es un poco laberinto, ¿no? Es un poco laberíntico. Míralo. Ahí hay cosas. Oye, que el límite de grabación de la Play son 30 minutos, sí. Me vas a rayar y no me va a dar tiempo. No me va a dar tiempo. ¿Y ahora qué aquí? A lo mejor tengo que reiniciar, ¿no? ¿Cuánto llevo de vídeo? 25 minutos. ¿Hoy?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now.
A ver.
I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
¿Y ahora qué? ¿Se reinicia otra vez? No, estoy pulsando la... Vale. Vale, pues señores, voy a reiniciar dándole a empezar de cero, que creo que era un final porque me lo ponían en el museo, y a ver qué pasa.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Qué? Pero empecé...
When Stanley came to a set...
No. Empezar de cero. Nada, señores, vamos a dejarlo por aquí. Ya me emparano ya. Espero que os haya gustado la serie. Tiene más y más finales, pero nosotros lo vamos a dejar por aquí. No sé cuántos finales he conseguido, no sé cuántos, la verdad.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided when Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Y otra vez. Lo único que he cambiado ahora ha sido el principio y ahora pues y un fin de engal. Sí, que si encuentro todo me tendré una recompensa, ¿no? Vale, pues señores,
Coming to
nada,
a
eso.
staircase,
Espero que os haya gustado
Stanley
el
walked
vídeo.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Y nada, nos vemos mañana. Mira, si acaso lo veis, si hacéis eso y se cierra la puerta, bueno, si entráis y la puerta se cierra, tendréis otro final. O sea, si hacéis...
Here's the door, just
Si
go.
hacíais eso. Pero bueno, espero que os haya gustado el vídeo y nos vemos en el siguiente videito con más. No sé si subiré Team Fortress o no sé cuándo estaréis viendo eso, pero bueno, nos vemos mañana en el siguiente vídeo con más. Adiós. Bueno, espérate, vamos a ir a un menú. ¿Habrá cambiado algo? Por la cara de Stanley para Paul 2.
This is the story of a...
Y ahora empiezo el juego otra vez. Bueno, pues nada, señores, espero que os haya gustado el jueguito y nos vemos mañana en el siguiente vídeo con más. Adiós.